Hi, this is Prithvi and welcome back to another video. Today I am going to be showcasing all of these beauties. Yes, the Doctor Who animated missing episodes. So, for those of you who have a very keen eye, you'll notice that I haven't got the Underwater Menace included in this, and that is because it's reconstruction rather than a full animation. Anyway, let's just crack on. But before we do, please, a reminder to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it around on social media, follow me on social media, and also check out my second channel. Anyway, let's start with, at the very beginning, with... Ooh, yes, with the invasion. So the invasion first came out in 2008, and the two missing episodes out of the 8-parter were animated by Cosgrove Hall, and this was, it seems that this was a sort of experimental version from the BBC, and the invasion stands out as one of the best animations, and it went down actually quite well. But apparently, the BBC, for some reason, didn't animate any more after this, and also Cosgrove Hall went out of business. But Cosgrove Hall actually animated previous Doctor Who installments, including The Scream of the Shalka and later The Infinite Quest. But yeah, this was the one where they did the animations, and I have to say it's a good animation. I have a fondness for the invasion, but then again, the invasion is a great story anyway. But yeah, episodes 1 and 4 were animated on this, and the BBC didn't really do any more until 2013, when The Reign of Terror came out. So The Reign of Terror here has got, again, 2 missing episodes. These are episodes 4 and 5. And it's interesting with this one. On the invasion, they sort of tried to publicise the animations as much as possible. With this, they've just got a sticker. But yeah, on the invasion, they had I did show them a little earlier. They had the screenshots from the invasion animated episodes. With this, they don't. And I have to say, the animations in these, I think are alright. They're not the best, but then again, this is a weird story. But yeah, these were animated by Big Finish Productions / Planet 55, who later went on to animate further missing episodes. But the next missing episodes to be released was actually the Ice Warriors. Although it wasn't, and I'll get back to that in a minute, literally a minute. But the animations on here, so it does actually say that they were they're animated. Yes, 2 animated episodes. These were animated by Curious Entertainment, which has now gone out of. Oh my goodness! I've just seen some lightning. Anyway. These were animated by Curious Entertainment, and they're actually really good animations. I mean, the story isn't the best, but the animations are really good. And mainly because they follow the telesnaps, which are the sort of off-air photographs, the best. They sort of had a look at the telesnaps and tried to copy them as much as possible to try and recreate the most accurate version, and I think it paid off. Now, it's just a pity that, again, that the BBC aren't publicising these as animations as much, because that is actually a telesnap there of Varga and Victoria, but it's in but yeah, the episodes it's from is lost, and so therefore they've animated that scene. Overall opinions on the Ice Warriors. Ice Warriors are good as villains, but their debut story is lacking slightly. But yeah, there you go. The next story to be animated was... Well, the next episode really was the 10th Planet, episode 4. And this is... It's a heartbreaking story, actually, that's 10th Planet episode 4 isn't included, or it doesn't survive because this is the very first animation, it's the very first regeneration story, I beg your pardon. But yeah, it has been brought out in animation here. This was released in October 2013, I think. But the 10th Planet, as an animation slash story, was first released on DVD earlier in the year in the Regeneration box set, which sort of included all the Regeneration stories. So it's included this, it's included the War Games, the Planet of the Spiders, Logopolis, the Caves of Androzani, Timon the Rani, Doctor Who the Movie, Battle / Passing of the Ways, and The End of Time. It doesn't include things like The Time of the Doctor or Twice Upon a Time, however, because they hadn't been made, basically. So yeah, or at least they hadn't been broadcast, I should say. But yeah, here you go. So yeah, it's a bit sad that episode 4 is missing from the archives, but we've got it in animated form now. And again, so this was animated by Planet 55, and like Curious Entertainment, they tried to mirror the telesnaps and the existing footage as much as possible, and I think that pays off as well. And the animation for Planet 55 provided for this is a lot better than the animation they provided for the Reign of Terror. But yeah, I mean, I carry on talking about episode 4 being missing, but we do have the main bits like the regeneration and so on. So there's that to be said about it, but it's still a little sad that it's no longer with us, although it might still be somewhere. I won't get onto that in this video. I'll save that for a different video, if at all. Next is the Moonbase, which was released in early 2014. Now, I think this was actually going to be released earlier, but it's sort of pushed back in the schedule because of a discovery of missing episodes. So sort of in between the 10th Planet's being discovered and the Moonbase, or the 10th Planet's being released and the Moonbase being released, two stories, or two nearly whole stories were rediscovered in Nigeria. These were The Enemy of the World and what was that other one? The Web of Fear. We'll get onto the Web of Fear in a few minutes, but they were both released as quickly as possible. So I think Enemy of the World was released in I think early December 2013, and then this came out, and then the final one, The Web of Fear, was released. But yeah, here we go. So what can I say about this? This is a good story, and the animation on this is excellent. It's worth buying just for the animations, even though the Lost in Time box set has got basically everything that this has apart from the special features. But yeah, the animations are amazing on this, Planet 55's best work. And it's a sort of shame that they didn't really survive that much, but they sort of got absorbed into Big Finish, and I shall talk about that one a little later. Anyway, the BBC decided to take a break for a couple of years, and then they released The Power of the Daleks. So this was actually announced in around this time in 2016. I'm saying around this time. This has been recorded about a month in advance. This is early September at the moment, but this was released. It was announced in early September 2016, and then released on the 5th of November 2016 to mark the 50th anniversary of The Power of the Daleks itself. And as a result, it's a bit rushed. And so the company behind it, the BBC Studios themselves, actually re-released it, but an improved version, because this one was very slapdash. Anyway, what's interesting about this one, though, is that it was first released in black and white, and then it was released in colour because they wanted to cater to an American audiences to an American audience, and American audiences apparently don't like watching things in black and white. They prefer to watch things in color. But yeah, this steelbook, by the way, is the only version you can get, the color version, and I'm lucky that I got it. However, I'm a bit sour that they re-released the black and white version as a special edition, and I still haven't got it. I might get it digitally because I found it digitally, but it doesn't include the special features, which is not the best. But I absolutely loved watching this animation when it first came out, and I was one of the first people to get it on BBC Store digitally, and as a result, I got some art cards, which was very pleasant. Anyway, BBC then went a bit mad, and I think a couple of years later they started releasing these on a regular basis, starting with the Macra Terror. Ooh. So yeah, the Macra Terror here is an interesting one, I think, because it's a really good story, and it's sort of set the benchmark for other Big Thunder Siege stories for the Second Doctor. Because a couple of episodes before this were things like, it was the Moon Base and the Underwater Menace and things like that, and but this one was one of the first ones, and also this is really good animation. They honestly went all out on this. And even the colour version is really good. I normally watch these in black and white, but the colour version of this one in particular is very good. Because the level of detail that's gone into it and all the different colours and things like that. But also this sort of demonstrated the creative freedom that the team had, instead of relying on telesnaps, which they sometimes did. They also reanimated completely the Macra Terror to make them a bit more of a threat, because the Macra in the original you can find. I think there are bits of surviving footage, and it's not very good. the Macra props were terrible, and as a result, the BBC stopped hiring the modelling company in future productions. Anyway, it's literally just started raining, and so I am going to move swiftly on, because a couple of years later they released this. This is also animated by BBC Studios, as was the last one, I should say, and it is the Faceless Ones. And the Faceless Ones is a story that I quite like, it was actually quite good, these animations. Now, episodes 1 and 3 are actually surviving, but they animated the entire thing in black and white and colour, which I thought was a bit of a step backwards and a bit of a waste of money. But there is a bit of methods to it, because, as I said, they were catering for an American audience, and so they wanted them all to be uniform, as it were, so it wasn't as jarring. But whenever I watch this, I've watched these surviving episodes alongside the animations, because I think that works better and is more in line with the other animations that we've gotten previously. Anyway, what else can I say? But yeah, moving on to one that was released actually during the pandemic. This was released before the coronavirus pandemic, and now we get on to one which was released during the pandemic, which is this one, Fury from the Deep. This is another one which is completely missing all of its episodes, and it's a good story. It holds a soft spot in many Whovians' hearts. And this one was actually animated not by BBC Studios, but by formerly Planet 55. It was animated by Big Finish Productions, who also do a lot of the audio dramas. And what can I say about this? I mean, people have criticised it a little bit, but I think the animation is okay, and it still makes a good story. They did use a little bit of creative freedom as well with some action shots. So one was meant to be a comedy shot in the original, but they turned it into an action scene in the new version. And I apologise for the dramatic weather, but yeah, it's like that now. Anyway, let's move on to one that has divided many, many, many people. The Web of Fear. So Shapeshifter Studios animated the missing episode 3. I mean, Web of Fear episode 3 is still out there. It was discovered in 2013, but or 2012 or something like that. And Philip Morris, who found the rest of them, along with the aforementioned Enemy of the World, he actually held back on releasing them to the BBC, or held back on the news getting out until he discovered episode 3, and eventually he gave up. But yeah, it so yeah, episode 3 is still out there, but they evidently grew impatient and they just released this along with episode 3. Now this actually contains 2 discs rather than the normal 3 discs, usual 3 discs I should say, and it's mainly because they used brand new animation on this using motion capture. And I saw it, and I have to say, I think I prefer the photographic reconstruction of episode 3, which is also included on here. I believe it's somewhere on here. But, yeah, let me have a look. Hang on, is it? I don't know, actually. It doesn't actually say that it's... Oh, yeah, it does, actually, on disc 2. A reconstruction of episode 3. There you go. So, yeah, there you go. Interesting facts about this. The sets were so realistic to convey the lens ground that the production company actually has a call from the transports network for London, the Tube, and they said, "Who gave you permission to film in the undergrounds?" But it wasn't the undergrounds; it was the set. But it was evidently so realistic that it fooled TfL. But yeah, there you go. Also, a side note for any collectors out there, I do actually display this in this slipcase, which came with the original DVD release when it came from BBC Store. And the reason why I display it with this is because this case is kind of special, but also it sort of hides the fact that I've got this version. I'm not embarrassed by it because I quite like the Steelbook, and also it's all over YouTube. But yeah, I just think that it looks better alongside the Enemy of the World I've got, because it also comes in this slipcase as well. So yeah, anyway, moving on to a month after the Web of Fear was released, and onto this, which is The Evil of the Daleks. And this has often been credited as the best of all the Doctor Who animations out there, apart from possibly the Moonbase and the Macra Terror. But this is the best BBC Studios ones. So I should say that the Macra Terror was made in conjunction with Sunlight Entertainment or something like that, but I've also gone bankrupt. Anyway, Evil of the Daleks is very good. It's very well done. Look at those colours. Isn't that amazing? Of course, I watched these episodes in black and white alongside the original episode 2. But yeah, this is a really good one, and I'm proud to have this on my shelf, and it looks amazing when it's actually on the shelf like that. But yeah, this is honestly one of my favourites, and yeah, I actually thought I made a prediction. So when the BBC were releasing these animated missing episodes, I made a prediction that the one after the Faceless Ones would be the evil of the Daleks. And my reasoning behind it was that they seemed to be doing the whole of the Troughton era, but skipping over episodes that either already existed or had reconstructions already, and Highlanders. So they started with Power of the Daleks, and then they did, and then they skipped over Highlanders and the other two, which before I mentioned previously, the Animals Menace and the Moonbase. So they went, and then they went to the Macra Terror, and then they released the Faceless Ones. So it just thought, oh, the pattern must be the evil of the Daleks is next, and after that, the Abominable Snowmen. I was wrong. So yeah, they released Fury from the Deep after that, as you've seen, and then the Web of Fear, and then this. And I can see why now, because this stands out as one of the best ones, and also it's the Daleks, and so it's going to sell better. So there you go. Anyway, we're on to our last two now. So a couple of months after Evil was released, we got this one, Galaxy 4, which is the only First Doctor story that has been completely animated so far. So, Galaxy 4, what can I say about Galaxy 4? It's okay. I mean, the story isn't the best. And Peter Purvis, who played Stephen, didn't like the script that much because a lot of his lines were taken from Barbara, who was one of the previous companions, and given to him. But the message hasn't got across to William Ems that the change of companions hadn't happened, so he hadn't rewritten the scripts for that. But that's not William Ems' fault, as Peter Purvis does actually say in an interview. But yeah, it's an alright story, and the animation's alright. It's much the same as Fury from the Deep, as it's animated by the same company, Big Finish. Anyway, speaking of Big Finish, basically, as soon as this was released, they announced a final one. And that final one is the latest I've done an unboxing review of, and I'm not going to bother to cut the video now, but the Abominable Snowmen. Ooh. And it's sad that it's the final one, but what can you do, really? Yeah, apparently they weren't that popular with American audiences, and so they stopped doing them. Although The Crusades is going to come out, if not has come out at the time we're recording, it hasn't. But yeah, it's going to be a reconstruction rather than an animation, which is fair enough because animating The Crusades would be very expensive, and it also includes some controversial things like blackface. But in this one, they actually changed it. It seems so they changed it so that they looked more like, so the monks especially, that looks more like. Apologies, the video cuts, but I'm going to wrap it up very, very quickly. So yeah, they changed the Tibetan monks so that they looked more Tibetan, basically, rather than white actors playing non-white actors, so it's a bit less awkward. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again fairly soon for another video. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but yeah, let's hope it's good. Anyway, yeah, see you soon. Bye. Hi, this is Porthy here, and welcome back to another unboxing of fudge. Oh, it's portrait.